about being a moderator.
All right. We begin Kinos. The Kinos is Lang Vidigolis. Kinos begin right away with Shava, Suru, Menish, Ba'un, Yechai. And the Shimuni over, all the things come right away. What's the first thing we speak about? That everything comes to a standstill. Which means, I always imagine that what would happen if today, if one day they announced to you that the shul, no shuls allowed b'chlal. Corona forever, like no shuls, can't have any shuls. What would Yiddishkeit be like if there's no shuls? Judaism, in order to be, is like the shul is where we hang out, that's where we are. When you say there's no more Beis HaMikdash, what do you mean no more Beis HaMikdash? And then how's Judaism going to be? Without a Beis HaMikdash, it makes no sense, no possibility. But that's what happened. In the Beis HaMikdash, nobody believed for a second. When they went, Yirmiyahu, it says Yirmiyahu went with those who were exiled. He went out to Golos and was allowed to let him do whatever he wants. He recognized Yirmiyahu as the tzaddik, and he let him go. And Yirmiyahu goes with the Goylim. He went to Bavel, and he came to Bavel, and then he realized that the better place for him to be would be go back to those who remained behind, because they needed him more than these who stayed over there. And as Yirmiyahu turned to leave, the Goylim, those who were out in exile, started to cry, and they said, Yirmiyahu, please don't leave us. And they were really, really tormented by Yirmiyahu leaving them. So as they tell him that, Yirmiyahu says, so terrible. Had you cried like this before the Churban, then the Churban would never have happened. And it's only because now you're remembering to cry. Now it's too late, unfortunately. And so to ask Klal Yisrael, what happens is, it's the shock of godless. And that's how we begin the first Kinan. Shov asur meni shimu ayvrais moiz never khaber rais the guys mishkan this guys the guys the blog the guys of mother boy kesila kol avirai no floidenu betzul de khuyom in is khiksa khazain ben berech yom ad bilay gilgol khabu yoinin no level bivan de khuyos of the khamel min ani bekhia pnei brod ne bod no khasider כי הוא יסיידו, פחד חית שלדו, ויסיידו, פצו חזיריו, יחסידו, בוטו מעשייה, יומלינדו, פרס וציין ביודו. As we're going through the Kinnah, he describes how we were all waiting for Chazain ben Berecha. Chaya ben Berecha, he had prophesied, Oid Yesh was Canis, Becheves Yerushalayim, there'll still be elders sitting in Yerushalayim. And so we were all waiting for those moments, and there'll be elders sitting in Yerushalayim. And it just didn't come about. And all this is an accumulation, because even Shiloi, so initially when Bnei Yisrael came into Eretz Yisrael, the Mishkan stood for 369 years in Shiloi. And then it was destroyed because of Eli. And that happened with the Chatois, the sins of the sons of Eli. And so all that is adding up together. And he's going through it. Then we went to Noiv. And what happened was in Noiv, Shaul killed Noiv Yerakonim. And that was destroyed. And one by one, all the places were destroyed. And finally, the Beis HaMikdash too, and that's the Kinnah. Atokayim mirbad yumiyad yumuni gad boy la boy khamun gad yumuni Rav Tobiyad Yechezkel Lin Kaim Kemay Moru Kaim Yamo Adlik Zalim Khamo Azibeni Ziyanin Shifta Moes Mazrael Ad Kenesim Zayim Meshir Right View شامكين نخون قدام نخاك بغيز بنا خداش بمور غاز خداش بنا خديد بنا من يزياد بنا خالدين أبي من ذبنا خديك זוקנו וחו וזולוק ולנו רמה בדנו עמך כולנו זוכר הדינוי מאוב ויולנו. Again, if you pay attention to the poetics of how things go, you see that every piece over here at the end of it, it goes through the Aleph base. So the first one is Samech. We started with Samech over there, Samech Ayin Pei Tzadik. And he goes through the whole Aleph base, so we just finished over here, Toshiv Lem Gmul, Kirdev Rav, Kitanemes. And then we end off and we say, Hashem, just give us back, let us go back to Eretz Yisrael, and remember Hashem, what happened to us. Kinos Zayin is called Eicha. Eicha is the theme word of all the Kinos. Eicha, how could it be? And so this Kina goes through the shock again of how could this come about. So how could it be that you let the Adoimim take over us? That's the Aleph. And you didn't remember the Beis, the Beis Bein Abasarim, that you promised Abraham, what you promised him. How did you go out to Begar? How did you scream at us? That's the Gimel. And you didn't remember Ligas, Dilug, Derech. That's all that you made for the Golim. And that's who we were and this is who we are. And we go through one by one who we were and who we are. And it goes through the Aleph base once again in poetic terminology. ובכן דיברנו, זוכר אדוני ואלנו, איך רק בגנך עדף בידד לי מאמינך, אבל זכרת ביות ועסק ועסק שוויית לי בדרך אמרים, ואלנו זוכר אדוני ואלנו, איך חסונה, תודה ואלנו, אבל זכרת חיתון חוגיך, ואיך משוחק עליך ולכו, איך אתה רחת בתוכך, לדרב ידך מלאך, אבל זכרת ירגע לי, שזכרת לי ידך, ולזכרת לי לזנך לאילם אשר לימדת ללגורך בחינת נזכיר עדינוי מאוב ובויולנו איך המיללת במו יעשיך למועד בנים לזר ולא נדעת שחשוב נזרת לנצורך בחינת נזכרים ויולנו איך חסכת בשעריך לסגר ויציאך וזעדך ולא עד ידיים אשר ידעך אותו לעבודך בחינת נזכרים ובכן צועק נזכר אדוני מוידון ירגוז בגלל זה אבנית בגלל ולא יש לך מיוחסים אשר רוסת תיסלה איך השואב תפשעבך לדעת How could it be, Hashem, that you called and you allowed all these enemies to get up and rise against you? That's the kuf, and you didn't remember the Rechev, Regesh, Rebbeisayim, the chariot, which we would see by Matan Torah. So every time we're going through, how could it be that Hashem allowed this to happen? And we cry, we cry and we pour our hearts out. Yeah, tears are spilling like water. Why on this day will we capture twice both Batei Mikdash? I remember sitting tranquilly with serenity in Yerushalayim. I complained, that was by the Miraglim. And because of that, I have to cry and lament ad chuk shamayim, all the way to the heavenly spheres. So the next kinna takes on the end and begins with the next one. And it's about how there's no end to my tears. My tears are unlimited. I cursed the day that I was destroyed twice. I remember that night of the Miraglim and what I did with my crying. הכוי מיתן ידעתי באמצעי הפכוי ואזרח ובעצם במילה עקב המון ומבון ומסן הסמון הרענו חרס ועוצר מנגיע למול האזרח מיתן נבוי ויגוס ומילואים או ירח בי משפטי גויים וילדי ידיעה בביצים ומעלי ומלול מזור הסגורים מילי ומיתן שמגגן יזור עוד לגופו ובינו מגיע סמות מחותנו אז יהיו פגים מסבריך אליהם הגר מיתן לי עבר כיוי נוח נפשו מקרס איזו לימי מפלצה וחז כמוי תגזור בלדת נבזור אסיך מיבידני יום מצוי חטא לי הפדני בצלמו ועובד דודו בגנות ודבו בדודו 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 הנה מי גבר יחיה ולא יחיה מה וזה לזוז איתה תחזוי זה ימוסי בכל שונה אומר זה השונה הזוי זה יד על הכל גימודה זה זה לא כי יד הדין יוצא זה גב נמורי זה דני חילי יחל לחבר לדרך הדרך הדין מחלים אך תיכה בשיר ומשיר מחיים יחד מדין הגיח לי אל תשגח צעק אסך יהיה לילה ולגגד בישראל תשינה משהו מוסר איל. Remember Hashem, the cry of Ariel is the Mizbeach. And remember all the Jews used to come over there to the Beis HaMikdash of the Mizbeach. Remember them all giving up their lives for you. Leimer miyitem mitzien yishuas Yisrael. Hashem, please save us. Yisrael meis b'doch alei alochu. Once Yidden went against Hashem's ways as a vuni, they turned from Hashem. We're no longer bound to Hashem. Roganti v'ilalti. Umei belibi nishpochu. I complained against Hashem and my intestines are pouring out. How is it that we took this glory that we had and we just sent it flying out? And the next kina again, how could this be? The next kina goes through the whole in Bechukoisai. Parshas Bechukoisai talks about the beginning, all the wonderful things that will happen to you if you listen to Hashem. So we go through the parsha and show what happens each time, quoting a few words from Bechukoisai. חשיפתי מרשוי שישליחו כנגד כיס יעקב בצלם המליכו בחללום תנאי אשר חזי נמלכו בנומם בחוקיסה בבית אליכו לא מוסורי בו אלי כולכם חוסקו אלי דבריכם יתכם לזלזל לכם בילה שויטי במאיזה זיבזום ובונים הסתיר מהם כשור אבוססום ויומר לאובוק מתרום לאביסום לחלב ונוסעת כגשמייכם ביתו צפיר מוי סמני גילה והפוי והסתמני חום בבירש אשר ניגוד ארמון גאונו מילומו מקצירו ויבחס חרב שערים מציר מזירה בוש בקוץ אדמור והשיג לכם די שסבורת רצון ישתוש ליבר דרבים לזול לשולם באורץ ויצורכם ובוץ ומסגב ומפר לעזור לכם בכם מן ניצח ומרגם וישש ומביאם ומיידור הזאת לכם שלכם מייח מייס פינת צדק מלא הגיב מזכירי סמות זה כל תומר מחבלי זה לא אגידה במתומו בשיני ועוד ומהם רמי שמי הזון אחר לנריקי אז מהדך מביל שער יחילה מעמיד הסגליכם ומילד מאוד מאוד וגלכם מאוד מגים ונקרח מוגב סנו יאים לכל הקלוקת נראה ולא איזה דישן כי תרחו פוסר על הגגיב שנשו על הידוק הנמוך ואכלתם יושון לא ישון. The pasuk says ואכלתם יושון לא ישון. You'll eat the grain will be so much grain will be old and ready and preserved, and instead what happens, you're suffering in hunger and nothing what to eat. טוב, ונכסי רב די דוכנים בגי חמוס גנית המחני הרי כמה שונים גילה יסד ואיני וזו מדי חיימה ונתתי מגון יש ובאגי מנהג מזה מייסייכם ואבא מייסייכם מייסייכם חייל בחור בחיים ודבר ושיחסכם סוד צילום פוץ ויסלחתי בסייכם. It says I'll walk among you. Instead of walking among us, we experienced all the four types of death. Skila, Sreifa, Hereg, Lechenek were all met upon us. כל ולשוית כרגע עליכם וכם נשבומל אליכם לחקם נשברו נפש שזה ללכם מוסלם שיח אני יד אליכם אם אוי סתם קיל כולו נשיבו בצור למלוך אבסוך מנו שיהיו בבו זה גם לבייס מקרשו בזו זה לא מיכך מבייס ישמור מו הידך יששייכם גואר בזו זה אמרו זו זה לא ינונו זו כנוסו נילייסי נוסע בניסכם גואר מוסו יסכם כנמתי בחוקו ובו יסייתי מוסו. There's an allusion over here to, it says you run away on a horse. The Yidden would say, if anything happens, don't worry, we'll be able to run away and to flee. And the story that comes up time again in the Kinos is the story of Tzidkiyahu, the last king. And Tzidkiyahu planned an escape route. He realized the Navi was prophesying doom. So he planned to escape. How am I going to escape? He built a tunnel. And the tunnel went for miles and miles and miles underground. And it went all the way to find itself in Midbar Yericha, in the desert of Yehuda. And what happened was the Kasdim were outside, and the Kasdim went and they were playing, and there was a deer. They were trying to capture a deer. And they were hunting down the deer, and the deer ran and ran and ran. They were following the deer. And then the deer stopped right there. And at the moment the deer stopped by the opening of the tunnel, Tzidkiyahu and his whole family came out. They thought they were in the middle of the desert. Right there waiting for them with the deer were all the soldiers who, instead of capturing the deer, captured them. So you thought you'd be able to escape, and Hashem says, nope, no chance of escaping. Tzidkiyahu was taken down to Galus. His eyes were poked out. He saw first all his kids being killed in front of him, and his eyes were poked out. And he was taken into prison. Neviya yichto talmid shov chazois lo yitrayis yisleach afas lezois b'didim uvenek yeshiv abezman atos gal b'yamani zezois avdu chol gushol gemen avodat migamin b'zeidim teresunan lecha avela yatei v'nom v'nosat yivone bot zezeidim lifnei midechala am gevet aven bokat vayil lo yizrago edem evet avel ona v'nona v'nos avnom mimadei leos avayom kotel meishoin in every year the galus gets worse and worse, and the anguish and the cry and the strength, the pride of Klal Yisrael has been broken and shattered. So May Rois is gonna be me ho shagi lochim no mim del khoimim Ei goy roli viso usam The Teichacha comes right after the brachas. So in Bechukoysa you have at the beginning the blessings. Right after the brachas, you have, and if you don't listen to me, what's going to happen? Yishlachti bochem es chayas ha'oretz. Hashem is going to send the animals, the wild animals, against you. And we experience the Teichacha very well. Shachachu be'ilav k'zei michmo ve'in doile ameleim ga ve'in ma ve'boile lo ninkot. Arei kamesh onim amanin izgai lanu shem bevekuach ve'in me'ele digoy אף אני לחוד ביגע שיקורוינו ועושים חביש בזכורוינו ותשעי וגע וגורין איכה ישבו חבצלס השורוין. So Am Yisrael is called the Rose of the Sharon, the rose of the place called Sharon. How could it be that Yoshua, where is she sitting, Chavatzeles Sharon? What happened to us? Now we're going to go through there were 24 families of Kohanim. That's how it worked out. David HaMelech divided them 24 families. Each family of Kohanim was given a different week, and that's how they would do the Avodah in the Beis HaMikdash. We're lamenting that these families are not there anymore. One by one, we go through how there's no more families of Aaron. Each one is missing. בוחר שיפגם מחומש הספורים כנראה כלים ונביאים מגירים ואדם ונשחט כוחים וציפירים ונדו כציפורים כיאני ציפורים. The Kohen and the prophet Zechariah was killed on Yom Kippur. That keeps on coming again and again. Gol Samiyah Tzakana Mugushat Babim Marzodosh Midaba Bajwati Mushbato Umeadi Upshata Mishmeres Mifshoto. Because we didn't keep Meiser and Shemitah in the land kicked us out. דאחי חול שם מוגני בזגוס למעמיד גני גם בסילוי הורד והושבל מתילוי בנו מי שסילוי כהן היסולוי יואבים מליבים בלוי חמי לחם כבית לעלי בורס בוי בלח ממורה במוזמום מלחם מגודות לחם מבייס לחם היית דור איפר נכס ניבקו מנוירו נכבוס גבוש המלחם הבאס ניל גדוי יתפוס דוח הזמן שנעזו ונשמע ישיב ודור נזמין ליבוא לנמוי שלבוא אוקצבו לא בוקייני היי לבוכי תודה ואמרו לי לזהל בילי ביזידיות הבוכי זהל הבוקינו כתמרו גזהל בעצם מיינו כבר זיהל דמו זהל לי בזבל בנהלו רב אחרי דבנו המקלם גבל במסגר גאו מסגר בבגעני העמל עוד דבר ובעזבו לגמרי מה בו כן קבום כל עמו כהננו קינו כי הכיסו ליל כהנה וגנו ולזה כן בנות אדם מקינו משמרס אל קונו צבאז וחסב על חרס ריבאז ובריזל מוזר מורם משמיע נילי סיטוין מכאן מבורן ושיגוין פוק הדר ליהו בני וגיבוין בנו ממוין משמרס בייס כהן מוין סגרת אלובן וניחב גאושבתי אנו מבלי אוהב ונמנעתי ונזבתי מיני מורו מנוסו אולי גינה בשמרת שבב לבאביר רואים ומרחוי מרד מריו צוגורים מרמם בשמרת מעדיו על גבי ראש רואי דברים מניס וממניס וריקו עלי חרב החניס ויובייס סמס וסיינס ומצור חס טוב ניס יוצא יבניס פרסו בגנת פליה כדי מיני בשגם של ארבע שבוזו מבמר בשמר Kini moleh nechaz vegatz veyeretz nizraz nizraz garos yitzuri lekoyde leyom began leyom began leyom there was a Ner Ma'aravi, the western candle, machlekes of the Rambam and Rashi what that candle was, but let's say the middle candle. And that candle was all the time alight, never ever went out, and that candle went out when the Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. Shulei Chamas we dive into Hashem that we should have the smells of the Mizbeach and the Korbanos should come back to us. But in the meantime, by Kohen and Yirmiyahu al Yeshiyahu, Kina Yud Aleph, Yirmiyahu is lamenting Yeshiyahu. Yeshiyahu was a king, and he described him at great length. Yeshiyahu had 3 sons who were kings. Unfortunately, Tzidkiyahu was his son. They all became kings one after another, and they were killed. Yoakim was a Rasha, and then his grandson became king. Yechonia became king, and he was taken out to Golus. And Yeshiyahu himself tried to prevent the Churban, but failed. He was 8 years old when he started to seek Hashem. The sons of Chom, that's the Mitzrim, when they killed him, all the good deeds that he had done were not remembered. From the days of Avigdor, that's Moshe Rabbeinu, there was no tzaddik among the Malachim who rose like him. Unfortunately, the sin of the scoffers, of the clowns of the generation. So what happened was he went and he said there wasn't going to be no one's allowed to be Zarah, so he sent patrols to every house to check out the Avodah Zarah. But the Litzani Ador, what they did was when the guards came in, they would hide the Avodah Zarah behind the door. So when you came in, you didn't realize that the thing was behind the door. And that way he thought that Klal Yisrael was in a state of Avodas Hashem. Little did he realize, behind the doors, there was the Avodah Zarah. And so you weren't following Hashem's ways. So what happened was Aram in the northeast of Eretz Yisrael was having a war against Mitzrayim in the southwest. And Mitzrayim asked, can we please go through your land, and just to be able to get through, we don't want anything else. And he looked in Bechukos and it says, Lo yisaver cherev, cherev l'saver ba'aretzachem. So no sword allowed to pass through the land, even a sword of peace, which is not directed at you. But the Navi told him that only works if you're following the ways of Hashem, and you're not following the ways of Hashem. He said, yes, we are. Little did he realize that the people were hiding the Zarah behind the doors. So he didn't listen to the Chayzat Yirmiyahu, and as a result, what happened was he was killed in battle. Because of the sin of hiding behind the doorpost, the Avodah Zarah. Chazoin and there's no one, no mean Nechuminav Zois V'Leyezef Bonav Zov Zois Su Veidon Adlishia Veimonu Su Moti Zois Lishia Pnei Kam Kam B'Leil Zalei Retia V'Eiru Amirim Nemelech Yeshia. So the archers went and they were shooting at Yeshio, and he was out in battle because Mitzrayim Pari Nechoi tells Yeshio, if you don't allow me to pass through your land, I'm going to come against you. And he said that's fine, and so Yeshio went against him. And the battle went 1 against 1. And Yeshio, because he didn't listen to Hashem had told him through Yirmiyahu not to block the mitzvah from passing through. And for that sin only, that's it, for that not listening. As a result of that, the archers were able to kill Yeshio. They were throwing arrows, and he's closing his eyes, and they keep on throwing more and more arrows into him. Shooting another arrow. Tzadu v'samu kamato olachitzin. They made him the bull's eye. 300 arrows into him. Kal imitu achra be'ezen moitzapiu v'ad mitzi nefesh ma'isa ve'fiu. So the swift people, that was Yirmiyahu, went to listen. What will be the dying words of Yeshayahu? And what did he have the dying words? Ruach sfosa v'hifta pi mipiu tzadiku adinoi ki morisi fihu. Instead of getting upset at Hashem, I'm such a tzaddik all my life, I did so much good. And this is how I get repaid for one little thing that I did. Instead, he recognized and he says, Tzadiku Hashem, ki marisi piu, and that becomes a pasuk in Eicha. Si noif ki kinei zam, l'shalem shoyim abin mitzam tam kesem atoiv amzu b'fosham ha'ikon and love b'leicha yuam. The whole parak of Eicha yuam, parak Daled in Eicha is designated as a kina to remember King Yeshayahu. Tom mimikeh chod kois megid. He was killed in Megiddo. They made a lamentation of 22 letters for Yeshayahu. Oy says Kinos lubota bechoili etzi sheshochachtem v'elizah moisi kilo adya hili roshat even osat even utasholi. Because I messed up, my tent, the tent of Hashem, was abandoned. And now we talk about the tent of Hashem. Kirai This kin is all about the poi. What is happening in this moment? Poi, in this moment. I look at Oz, I look what happened then, and I look what's going on now. I'm smacked around this time and that time. Every generation has its issues. Why Hashem are we struggling and suffering and being persecuted more than any other nation on earth? As bad as it is, as terrible as it is, I know my cure is absolute, and I'm certain of it. Because Hashem is angry for a moment, and then ultimately Hashem wants Klal Yisrael. Eichoi can also be read koi. So now we go through all the times in Tanakh when it says the word koi. For example, by Bris Ben Absarim it says koi and koi yet, and that didn't happen. The koi. Where's the koi of by Avraham Avinu, by Akedah? Where's the koi of by Yaakov when he did the sheep? Where's the koi when it says by Moshe Rabbeinu he looked koi v'choi and he killed the Mitzri? So we go through all the kois. Where are they? Moshe came down the mountain of Bar Sinai. He says koi semar al Beis Yisrael. It says koi sevaruchu by the kohanim. All those kois have disappeared, and a koi is eicha. Where is it? A koi oimel kiris le'ov befez al b'bizman avzon b'yinan ezar b'yinan b'ulu avzon b'rezar Hey, koi of toch kudim shoyzim goyimad beirajoyim menad bagado hey koi zam og mit began no ma koi even goy bkhoy khutam ba'd az gel no gam koi ze kol heira oye be ba koi des hey koi toy bisulach yel abdo koi ze ma no shalach om yob de khomenad zo me de Moshe Rabbeinu was such a beautiful, glorious moment when he tells Paro, Koyamar Hashem, Chatzais Alayla, and Yetzim B'Zech Mitzrayim, and around Chatzais I'm going to come out. And that was then, and this is now, and now the Goyim are coming by us, and they're walking around in our Beis HaMikdash, trampling. Hey, Koy Mishma, Moshe Elokei Seman, and Maz Bais Mula Ben Adonai Nasua Ben Yablo. So when the Yidden entered the land of Eretz, and they entered Eretz Yisrael, so there was Yerichoi, and when they came into Yerichoi, it says that a great miracle happened. What was the miracle of Yerichoi? The miracle was that they surrounded the walls. They walked around 7 times, and then all the walls just fell down. So that's the koi. It was we walked around the walls, blew the shofar, and won the war. What do we have now? The gates, Tovu ba'aretz she'areh, the pasuk says, the gates of Yerushalayim were sunken into the ground because we were on the losing side. How long, Hashem, do you allow the enemy to blaspheme your name? And continuing the same theme. So Adam Arishan is looking up from Shamayim and he sees what's going on over here and he says, I said, Hashem told me, Ayeka. Ayeka was the first Eicha. Ayeka, where are you? After Adam Arishan sinned, Hashem came over and says he was walking around, trotting around the garden and he says to Adam, Ayeka. And where are you? What have you done? Ayeka is the same as Eicha. And so Adam Arishan realizes that because of him, because he started the Averis, that spiraled out of control and brought about the Golas. Adam Rishon was the one coming out of the east, shining from the east. Bein HaBesarim, that's the priest Bein HaBesarim, Hashem, he saw the light of Hashem. And Hashem showed him the 4 kingdoms, there's the 4 Goliaths. And Avraham Avinu was screaming and shouting, how could you allow this to happen? So by the priest Ben Absarim, it says, there was a deep sleep and an awesome sleep. And Avraham Avinu was petrified. What was the fear that fell upon Avraham Avinu? The fear was the fear of what he noticed was going on in the Golus. It was the shock of seeing what would happen in the Churban. That was the Eim HaGdoila which fell on him in the Bris Ben Absarim. So Yaakov Avinu gathered his sons together and he wanted to tell them, when is Mashiach going to come? And as he's about to tell them, Hashem said, no, you can't do that. Because if they know when it's going to be, they'll never survive the Golus. So Yaakov Avinu was not able to reveal to us. Yoshua v'shol later they turned to Yaakov and they said, come on, tell us. Zman Keta Plois Moshe, when's it going to happen? He wanted, he's waiting to tell them. Ad ki be'ita yuchash v'yisvada. He says Hashem has to bring it about to happen. I can't reveal it to you. Yisvada, was liebe Mr. Kolam, so Moshe Rabbeinu went to the snare. Moshe Rabbeinu fighting with Hashem in the snare for why? Hashem tells him go. And for 7 days, Moshe Rabbeinu is sitting over there and he refuses to go. What was his issue? He says, Hashem, why are you sending me to Eliyahu Navi? Why would you do that? Just send Eliyahu now in the first place. And send Giladi now. And Hashem said, nope. And that was a 7-day argument until Hashem said, just go, because this is the way I want to do it. Man wird so sagen, los, der Weg gibt der Weg mit war immer der Weg war der man to be ne wie ja der Weg mit da wo das Weg da hier. Inglese wir haben noch mit da Paris ja da ja der ja Ai si vuki shom yirets. Timo Gilad יש שם מש לבוא שקר בשילת כי יבואי שילה בבואי. In the pasuk it says, so the bracha that was given to Yehuda was Ad ki yavoi v'lo yikas amen. Shiloh, who's Shiloh? Shiloh is called Mashiach. Shiloh yiritza kechala mi'isa v'nim mazal shaboy nasa ruma v'roisa l'chol ha'shachav zasa. Look what Averis do when you mess up, and that's what happened when Shiloh was destroyed, the Mishkan Shiloh. Also, גם שם נוח יודי במובו נכבו אנושים על רואי שם כרחכו יוגו נרס בבו גזען because זה גבדה ברומזר נמגירים גירת המגרגים בעולם מלא של מומזקים עליהם וכאנים נעיזין נגויים היגויים ברום השמי עוליב כוי לא מזה ועל מה זה יקרונו כויים יחד זה מבחר וזה מבחר רמזנו להמיר לשעין איכה בלושן מלשעין אי כוי. At the end of the day we messed up and we took the lotion of a koi. Instead of saying koi, what do? We switched the koi to a koi, to eicha. And that's where we are now that we are in this place. I think it's very important to, when you're doing the Kinos Bechlal, to realize, you know, Yirmiyahu tells the people, he says to them, his words are, his words that he says are, that kifanu elai oiref, and you turn to me with your back. And when you read Yirmiyahu, it looks like, oh, Hashem's just being vengeful. He says, oh, you turn to me with your back. In other words, you don't care about me. And the realization here is that it's not pshat that they didn't turn to Hashem. Yidden turned to Hashem. Yidden were from. They were from a Yidden. They kept their mitzvahs. They were always aligned with Hashem. That wasn't the question. The issue was, stop seeing Hashem in your life, and you stop seeing the power of what Hashem is, and you stop realizing it's a miracle, and you start to rely on yourself and on natural means, you lose the power of Hashem in your life. And Yirmiyahu is telling them, you don't realize what you're doing. Kiponu elai oiref. You're not into this. It's not who you are. You believe that, like today, we believe that money is what we need for security, and we need power and military might as a nation, and we need for ourselves all the things you need. And when you embrace the uncertainty, realizing that no, it's Hashem that you need, and Hashem says, just realize that's what you need. I heard a beautiful mashal from. I was talking to a lady the other day. She was raised in the worst possible, most dysfunctional abuse kind of situation, and her parents died, and then she was raised in a very terrible situation. She came to get married, and when she's getting married, the shadchan tells her, she says, she dated a boy, and she says, come on, that's not, you're setting me up like that? And the shadchan tells her, but who are you? You have nothing to show for yourself. And the Shatran just turned to gave her a stech. So she said, at that point, I realized, you know what? She says, the marshal was, if you have a keychain with 100 keys on it, it's 100 keys, but only one key is the right key that you need. So you have 100 keys, you have to go through 99, born with a lot of keys. You have in your family, you have so many people to help you. You have a mother and a father and a grandmother and a baba and a cousin and a rav and so many people around that can help you. So it blocks your realization that, you know what opens the door? There's only one key that opens the door. What makes the shidduch work, what makes anything happen in life is Hashem. And when you have all those keys, you forget about the one key that makes the work, Hashem. She says, but some people don't get 100 keys. She says, me, all I had one key. One key. There was no one else who could help me, nothing else. But I had the one key. I had Hashem on my side. So actually, in a sense, everyone else has to go through realizing the other 99 don't work. Only Hashem works. I went straight to Hashem. She's married now 20 years. It's beautiful to see. It was the most dysfunctional situation, both of them. Produced a beautiful, beautiful family. And I think that's the message over here. The message is that we're here to build our relationship with that one key, with Hashem. That's what Tisha B'Av is about. It's about the realization that Hashem and us are one, and we'll be fine. Kinos Vav goes through Perek Gimel in Eicha. He goes through the first few words of every. We did the Perek last night. So every the Aleph Beis, and there's 3 psukim for each letter of the Aleph Beis. So he quotes the first words of each one, and he goes through what Yirmiyahu is thinking as he says the pasuk. Eicha shpos apazor gevel redi be'ava zivei ve'ani hagever Eicha esa avoinhag v'chusam pi mipel elah goisino Eicha zamay lishbechim. Bila ba'is la roim muska v'chabar zel ziv chinika bon alem yagam b'ni b'ni le'or God HaGoyin Nadiv V'Shoya V'Yishiv Yomina Chayach V'Lo Agam Ki Ezak V'Hashem V'na Ki Zazam Chara Ki Godar Terocha Doi V'Yirei V'Uli Do V'Ach Dei Gal V'Mezanish Do Mini Mivchi Amor V'Ozer How you all I memory His Biyani Vameroiri Al Taborenu is like Mechin Shechem and Omen Zechem Zachozoi Ginibash Nidi Ralabot Migobet Redi Zachoni Redi Zonach Zvul Velevi Kshiach V'Isabroyam Moshiach Zachon Zoy Sashiv Libi Avoiseinu Zohag V'Chol Midi V'Abezoch V'Chozen Girav V'Zat Yizorem V'Abochet Chot Yivyav V'Nivto Chas de Yadoinoi Ki Lo Yisonu. Interesting explanation of this by the Balatanya. He says, what does it mean? Chas de Hashem Ki Lo Yisonu. The pasuk in Eicha. So he says, it should have said Chas de Hashem Ki Lo Yisamu. Say Chas de Hashem, Hashem, so much kindness of Hashem, because they don't end the kindnesses of Hashem. He says, but the way to say read it is Chas de Hashem Ki Lo Yisamnu, because we are not perfect. So what does it say? What's the nun mean? So what it means is, we need to do chasadim like Hashem does chesed. Nowadays, the greatest saving grace is the chesed of Hashem is called tzedakah. A yid has the power today to give tzedakah more than any other time in history. And chas de Hashem, we need to do chesed like Hashem. Why? Ki lo yisavnu, because we're not perfect. Because we have averos on our hand and all sorts of things. So we need to do chesed the way Hashem does chesed in order to undo this whole golus that we're in here. That's why I said ki lo yisavnu, because we are not perfect. Choshav Chirshi Lekal Kirigor Mariv Avodim Chizmunim Lekdaber Toiv Yochil Vedumom. People would pass by Yerushalayim and whistle over Yerushalayim. They would go, shh, wow, ay, 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 what happened to Yerushalayim? Toivim tapim niklu boisi filimo eluchem alali charavi lifa baboim. A little baby is the best of our children, died. כל כבוד תורנו וכלום מצור חסד חסד כולם גלי זנח לעולם כל הוא כמעט כדי נלחם ועל הרוע הוא נלחם כמעט בבריחה בכל שונה ושונה מזכיר אשמו כל ימי הושמו every year as long as we have Hoshamo, as long as Yerushalayim is in a state of desolation, Chol Shana V'Shana, we gather together and we remind ourselves of the guilt of what we brought about, because we're here believing that there's going to be a third Beis Hamikdash. Lo aleichem lo yichatzegi yilav. Hashem didn't punish all the goyim who made us suffer. What Hashem made punishment is to us, to His children. Sometimes you think when Hashem punishes you, like, seriously, Hashem, why do you have to punish us? But in a sense, if you think about it, a father, if he cares about his child, then will give his child punishment. It's not a punishment, it's out of love. So because actually, Hashem loves us more than anybody else. This is the we are on the Lamed now. We're still in Perek Gimel of Eichel, going through the whole chapter. We are in Lamed. We're going through each time, 3 psukim, and we're going to the beginning of each pasuk and saying what Yirmiyahu is thinking as he said. בחורים בדות כשל בי לאורי ושכינה הוא עלה מקרב בכל שיש באחרים לכם ונזכד נטל אוהל ברכינו מהיסוף שערכינו נער מצד אוכינו נביאה וניעד לגוי זף הבאים ויחזרו עלינו נער הבאים לזאת רבועים it's a case of after there were Kohanim we used to offer Ketores on the Mizbeach. And I'm shocked and gasping as I see the Kohanim being trampled on themselves. And the Goyim come in, they gather together and they just clapping their hands. And I'm screaming. Hashem, you covered by a cloud. They said, go away. Tomei people, they called us. Our heavens became like iron. Rains weren't coming down. Hashem not helping us. My eyes are screaming, tears of water. They're just coming out of me all the time because of all the tzaras that I've before me. Hashem He gave us 10 opportunities in 10 opportunities in the Midbar. And we messed up every time. We tested Hashem 10 times. Hashem said, if you're going to me, but carry, what does it mean, but carry? If you think it's a mikra, you're not realizing the severity, the reality of what's happening to you. You think it's just a carry, it just happened to be. Oh, you don't realize it? So fine. So I'm not there for you either. It's not a punishment, it's a reality. Tzadik, tzor, tzodai, lispel, chikol, tigir, Hartzi ein Zavu le'acharisi, Zozach Merege, Zacharti es berisi, To Adonai Kates al Techazei, Valmozeg. Hashem be a Kates. When does the Kates come about? When does Mashiach come? ראי רגז מה כסנו שבהם הגינות שבנות שבנה שירתו עדינו ובנפשי ראי ביחסי השם ויסתכל הדוסי ראיסי עדיני הבוסוסים רוח רב זה גימי מות מבלי אלו חבוס אמרו יזגון לבוס אמרו קדם שיר זו מגימות המידע שבינו שואלים ושילום שואלים וזה מה אחרפדים משיינים וזרדים ותשיינים ועבד בשש השם מעיני למויל וזאת בוראים וברח המודה טעם תכלית תקום ללך דמים קומים ולהעמיד המדיר מדורס ונרחקים השיבנו ויראינו אלה החוקים. The one saving grace is that Hashem, we're still following your path. And because we're all the time following Hashem's path, therefore we say, Ashivenu v'yireinu eile achukim, give us back, show us back eile achukim. It says that whoever the Beis Hamikdash, the Gemara says, whoever the Beis Hamikdash wasn't built in his days, kol mishleini the Beis Hamikdash b'yamav kilu nechrav b'yamav, as if it was destroyed. Imagine you standing right now and the Beis Hamikdash being destroyed right now. That's the way to look at it. If you see the Beis Hamikdash being destroyed right now, what would you do? Well, you carry the belt, right? You turn over the world. So the point is that look at it as if it's happening now and turn over the world now because we want to bring Mashiach. The next kina is about Titus. This is the story of Titus going into the Kodesh HaKadoshim and the story of how he gets there and walks in. Finally, when he gets all the way in, what does Titus do? He destroyed the second Beis Hamikdash. And Titus walked in and he was boil a zayna on a Sefer Torah in the Kodesh HaKadoshim, in the place where the Kohen Gadol would not be allowed to walk in only once a year. If he had any type of affair in his hand, he was dead. And this was a terrible affair that he did inside there. So we're describing now the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash and all the terrible events that led up to Titus walking in. Remember what this Yimach Shmoi tormentor did inside. He took his sword and he walked all the way into Kodesh HaKadoshim. First he was metamid alechem upon him, and then he stuck his sword into the paroiches. He walked out and his sword was filled with blood, the blood of Yidden. How could it be our fathers were petrified to walk in? And when Bachur of Ochlo Eish, when Nadav and Avihu walked into Kodesh HaKadoshim, what happened? They walked in, they shouldn't have walked in, they died. The despicable Zaina he brought inside. And nothing happened to him, no fire did anything to him, he just walked in, did his thing, and no issue. So the Kohen comes in the morning and he's looking for the 93 Kalim to serve Hashem in the Beis Hamikdash. But Titus had already taken the 93 Kalim and so he couldn't find anything to do Avodah with. It's a mashal. You think about, Yimach Shmam Nazis. I think one of the most powerful image to a Jew is the boots on the ground. The trampling boots, and that's what he refers to Aviyad. The karka bais and all of Hecheritz. He walked around the Beis Hamikdash with gaiva, with haughtiness, arrogance, conceited, and he walked around and he's banging his shoes and making all the ladies petrified. Sorry, no posuk b'ipodi. When he walked into Kodesh HaKadoshim, he said, Baruch Hashem, he's walking into Kodesh HaKadoshim, because now, HaKadoshim, if you walk in, you're dead. And they thought this is the moment Hashem's going to get him. And they were petrified and realizing that Hashem was tied up. Hashem asur baziki. He's being shackled down. He's not doing anything. So he comes to the opening of Har Bayis, and Titus comes inside. The other boy, Rosh Tafshav Lachib, he takes his 4 generals and he tells them to destroy each one a different side. He left on the western side, he left a little memorial over there. Now it's interesting, this story, what happened over there, this is the Kaislam Arabi. What happened was, the 4 generals went, he told them actually to destroy it. And the one general came, and no matter what he did, he couldn't destroy the western wall, was unable to be destroyed. And so he doesn't know, what am I going to do? Because whatever he tried to do, the would not budge. The other 3 did, this one didn't. He says, what do I do? So he decided to come back to Titus. He said, why didn't you destroy the thing? So she said, Your Majesty, he says, I couldn't do it because I wanted people to know how great this temple was, that they'll always recognize what you did. If you destroy the whole thing, people won't realize for generations what a fierce war you fought over there. So Titus said that you have a good point, and a very valid point, and as a result, I'm going to accept it. However, let's see if it works or not. In order to accept it, he says you need to go into the top of the wall and jump. If you survive, then your life is yours. If you don't, then you're dead. That's okay. So the guy went on top of the Kaisel, had no choice. He jumped off, and of course he died. So he died, but the western wall remained intact up until today. Whatever, all this happened to us, and we're still here with you, Hashem. We were hoping somehow we'd get back, and Hashem said, Lama Tishan, why are you sleeping? Why, Hashem, are you sleeping? The next kinah is called Alalayli. The words on their own are very easy to understand. Alalayli. We go through all the tzaras that befell us, beginning with women eating their babies. They measured their children, because one woman says it's not fair, you're getting more to eat than I am, and so they measured the child, and they're able to give each one what she wanted. If women's hair gets tied to a horse, they're paraded through the streets. If a baby has his tongue is stuck because he has nothing to drink. If a father eats something in a cave only to discover that he actually ate his own child. If they go out because they have they're drinking from they're eating salty foods and drinking. This refers to the story where the Yidden go out with Yirmiyahu, and as they go out they meet their cousins, the Ishmaelites, and the Ishmaelites, they said to them, you're our cousins, we passed through your land, give us something to drink. And the Bnei Ishmael tell them, you know what, no problem, we'll give you. And they took these bottles of water, and they took out all the water, and they put salt inside instead. They gave it to these people who were dying of thirst, and as they did, The guy's already dying of thirst, and now he senses this, and now he gets some salt into his system instead of getting water. And so the smell was so powerful that as a result, we lost countless Jews who died because of this ploy of the Ishmaelites. And Alalayli. Im timoat no mielet meil me'asara adechad lemapochim alalayli. If we went down from 1,000 to 100, 100 to 10, and 10 to 1, what a tragedy that is for us. 80,000 Kehanim get killed. That happens by the time of Zechariah. That story that keeps on repeating. Zechariah's blood was boiling, and the Radam comes in and he says he just killed 80,000 Kehanim to stop the blood from boiling. That 9 kav, 9 is exactly it's a huge amount of brains of children which are on a rock, and the brain, all they put was just put brains, and they put them down after they murdered the children. Other like and the Ruach HaKodesh turns out and say, you're only saying Alayli, you say what happened to you, what you did, you don't talk about. All you're saying is, how could it be that women are eating their babies, but you're not saying the end of the same pasuk in Eicha. How could it be? The Kohen and the Navi, the Zechariah was killed. That story repeats itself again and again. Zechariah was probably the first one to ever admonish the Jews. Zechariah was the son of Yehoyada, the Kohen Gadol, and the sad part is that the one who saved King Yoash was Yehoyada and his wife, the Kohen Gadol. But Yoash was a big. But Yoash went and he was upset that Zechariah is prophesying about the Churban. And the day of he killed him was the people killed him. It was in the Beis Hamikdash, in Azara, on Yom Kippur. He didn't hold back a favor to those who had saved him, and he murdered this massacred Zechariah. And the blood of Zechariah was on the ground, and it was boiling and boiling and boiling up until it was around his times. And that's the question. Hashem says, you tell me what you did, what I did to you, or you did to me, you don't talk about that. And you said things will be good. Chai viato mato eite beiti bim. When the Jews went out of Mitzrayim, that miracles happened to them. It says that when they went to Yam Suf, the babies who were the babies who grew up in Mitzrayim they were fed. And he came with Vashmi Selah, the rocks gave them honey. Those same children, when they went out in the Yam Suf, they said, "This is Hashem." Zekeli van Veyu. That was then. Where are they now? Now they're being murdered on a rock instead of having honey come from the rock. And now we go through the pasuk in Daniel. Like by slichas. Everything you do, Hashem, we talk. Hashem says it's a continuation, right? Hashem said, "You're telling me what you did, but what I did, what you did to me, what I did to you, talking about what you did to me, you're not talking about." So now we're like, "Okay, Hashem, you know what? Let's tell you what you're right." Lecha Hashem tzedakah. Tzedakah is yours, Hashem. V'lanu b'ishes upon him. We go through one by one all the wonderful things that you did for us for no reason, and we should be embarrassed of ourselves because of what we did back to you. You test. He says, there's so many miracles for us. But we tested you. You took us out of Mitzrayim, out of another nation. We messed up time and again. Hashem, to you is tzedakah, when you gave us the Mon and the Be'er Miriam and Amud Onan and the Chus of Aaron, Moshe and Miriam, Melonu bois upon him, Belechem HaKloikel, Avayiseinu Be'oleim Beragnim. Seriously, on the same day the Jews ate the Mon, they complained about the Midbar, about the Meraglim. And the same day they said, you know what, this Lechem HaKloikel, this spoiled bread, that's how they called the Mon. You gave us everything in the desert. We messed up time and again, Egel Azov, etc. You gave us Sichan and Oig, what do we do? We had Ochon. What did Ochon do? Ochon went and took away the spoils. So, yeah, that's a classical case. Ochon was the Ochon ben Karmi ben Zabdi ben Zerach. Ochon was he was a member of Shevet Yehuda, and Yeshua had said that whoever takes some Yerichai, that no one should ever build Yerichai, and no one should ever take any of the spoils of Yerichai. So, of course, if he says that, what do? Ochon goes and takes. He takes a bunch of things, and as a result of that, 36 Jews died in the next war against the Ai. And then we come back, and they discovered Ochon was a goyrel, they find who he was, and they put him to death. And the point is that how do we produce an Ochon? How do we produce someone who Hashem says, you made it tonight, you made a nether not to. Why do you go against the nether? Micha walked through the Yam Suf carrying his idol. If that's not embarrassing, it's embarrassing. Hashem, 900 years you withheld your anger. 900 years. And to us it's boishas upon him. That the Ish Chamuda, that Daniel says, Hashem, listen. The next kina takes from that. Hashem, listen to Tifletas Menaetes Midim Hashemayim, to the people of Israel screaming out to Hashem, where are you? So they offered on the Mizbeach, they offered a chaza. The story was that there were two brothers who were having a fight between them over Yerushalayim, the second base of Mikdash. Aristobulus and Hortus. What's his name? They're having a fight between them, and there was a Yid outside who told the Greeks, he says, if you guys want to get in, you don't understand. They're offering korbanos there. The deal was the enemy outside would bring up every day a sheep, and they had the korban tomid, and then they were sending down a chest of gold coins. So he says to them, you know what, that's why they're able to fight against you and win. He said, what should we do? He said, next time, instead of hoisting up a sheep, hoist up a chazan. That's what they did. And when he got to half the wall, he not Siparnov, he put his nails into the wall. And when he put the nails in the wall, the whole Eretz Yisrael, these daza, arba meis daza, shaking the whole Eretz Yisrael. As a result of that, we Jews have issues with swine. But yeah, that's what happened. Oh, but deals with the Asara Aruge Malchus. So the Yidden were feeling very, were hoping for good. And one day the emperor decides, you know what, I want to learn the Chumash of the Jews. So they start to learn the Chumash. They learned the whole Bereshis and Shmois, and they got to Mishpatim. When they got to Mishpatim, it says in the Pasuk, that says all the reasons why he got to the Pasuk and said all the reasons. It said in Mishpatim, it says that the Goyin Edishim B'Charev Benim Tzivada Meis Yumas. If someone kidnaps, he's Chayav Misa. So the emperor calls the rabbis together and he brings them all in and he says, rabbis, what's the din if someone kidnaps? He said, if someone kidnaps, it's Chayav Misa. He says, okay, who kidnapped? Yosef was kidnapped by his brothers. And the brothers didn't pay back. If they were here, I would judge them, but they're not here. And now I'm learning your Chumash and it says, so what am I going to do? I have to met some punishment out. So you guys are going to replace them. So I'm going to kill you, basically. So they went together into a room, and Rabbi Shimon goes up to Shamayim, and he asks, what's the din? And Shamayim told him, you got to accept the Gezeirah. And as a result, after 3 days, they come back to the Caesar, they accept the Gezeirah, and then he puts a lottery, and Rabbi Shimon and God, Rabbi Shimon and Gamliel, who should go first? And in the end, Rabbi Shimon was killed first, and Rabbi Shimon holds his head up, and he holds his head and he kisses the head of Rabbi Shimon, and he says, how could it be that this tongue, which was talking to Torah all the time, is melacheches afar, is now eating the dust? Then the daughter of the king saw Rabbi Shimon. She says, please, Abba, spare him. Father, spare him, because he's so beautiful, he's so handsome. Father says, I can't do it, it's time to kill him. But what I could do is, if you want, I'll give him his skin. I'll give you his skin. So he takes the skin, combed him off, killed him b'misa meshum, in the most terrible, terrible torture. And he killed him, and when he does so, he gave the skin of Rabbi Shimon to the daughter of the Caesar. And that's how the two of them died. They were the first two of the Asari of the Malchus. Arzei alevon and adiri atoiro. Yeah, the girl on Mirisha Nachere, bro. They made a girl who's gonna die first. The first girl, Rabbi Shimon, Porsche to the Woche, and he's like, say, Rabbi Shimon, the son of Aaron, the child of Aaron, that's Rabbi Shmuel, wants to cry for the Ben Gvira, the son of royalty, that is Rabbi Shimon. Tal Roisha, the son of He put his head on his knees, the severed head of Rabbi Shimon. Some ain't nobody, another people, he put his eyes on his eyes and his mouth on his mouth was absolute lava. No, but mouth, his God, but a mouth that was learning Torah, peace and links, and then a terrible death comes upon him. ציוון אף שיתס רוי שוי כבשר הסחירות ים בירוי אמונה נפשי ראשו הפויש לזיגה למוקם תפילין מצווס בורו. He reached the place with the tefillin on as he was combing his skin. צועק צעקו ונזדעזע אילם בארץ ישראל. The whole world was jumping. ויחר מיסה בקיבה לבוקה בקיבה איקי אורים מתוך נזו בזו בסבוד וסוד לזו מה זה להשתבו יוצא נשמע זה באחד הבאז כלום אשר בקיבה זו חטוב בכל מיני תורה. בקיבה was combed also. And when he got to the place of tefillin, his soul got out in Tyro. Ben Baba was killed. He was 70 years old as he was killed. Yeshay beside and say, "Not the Muslim, not in the Mara." But then, when Trad and Achab Michael Giles, but see in Shora, Yeshay there's ever there. He made for have this Mayram. As over the The story about Bechinim and Trad is. He went to visit Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma, who was dying, and he said to Rabbi Yossi, says to him, "What are you doing? I heard you're learning Torah, and you're teaching Torah, and you don't realize that the Romans are going to get you, and if the Romans get you, they will kill you. They will take you." He said, "I predict they'll take you with a Sefer Torah wrapped around you, and they will burn you alive." And he says, "Rabbi, what should I do? I can't stop learning. It's not possible to stop." He says, "But tell me, Rabbi, do you think I'm getting Olam Haba? Am I getting Olam Haba?" So he says to him, "I don't know, did you ever do anything good?" He says, "Well, one time I did. One time there was the money of Purim. I put aside the money for Suda and money for the Anim. And they came and they took the money for the Anim, and my wife, by mistake, gave away the money that was meant for my Suda. She gave it to the poor people who came around." And so Rabbi Yisrael tells him, he says, "Wow." He says, "I didn't use other money. I gave both money to the Anim and didn't have a Suda." If that's the case, you're going to get Olam Haba. The big question is, what does that mean? For dying on Kiddush Hashem, you don't get Olam Haba, but for giving away tzedakah money, you do. So the pshat is, he says, because, dying on Kiddush Hashem doesn't mean anything. Look how many Yimach Shmom people go, they kamikazes and suicides, and they do them, they're ready to die. It's not a virtue. The virtue is that we didn't want to stay alive. And we Yidden are people who give tzedakah, and we love life, we embrace chesed and life. And so when we give up our lives al Kiddush Hashem, that's a real Kiddush Hashem. So Rabbi Yossi ben Kisma tells him, he says, it's not pshat you're going to get the schar for the money. You're going to get the schar for dying on Kiddush Hashem, but because of the story of the money, that's how I know you're honest. We want to live. Jews don't want to kill, we don't want to die, we don't want that. That's not what we want. We want to be alive. But when we have to do it, that means it's a serious nefesh. That's why it's not called Mesiras HaGuf. We don't give away the body, we give away the soul. You give your soul over to Hashem because we want to stay alive, and it's against our nature. They took cotton wool and they put it around him, and so he should die a slow death. Heavenly voice came out and says, Rabbi Yesheva, whose body was sent to the dogs to eat, wasn't nothing in Torah that he hadn't learned. The birds above him would burn up from his Torah when he was learning. His dying words were and they wouldn't allow him to say the word Lasis in Kiddush. They killed him before he was able to say it. So now the Yid comes along and the Kinos is, let me just speak, let me just tell you what happened and you should understand what happened, let me just say it out. Keep quiet and let me speak. Keep quiet, let me speak. אוריד בשיחי ואוהי עמו וכל נאי אורי עמו Orid v'sichi ve'ahimo v'koil ne'yarimo erelim tzu b'tzaku moro. Erelim malachim go out and jump and scream out. Tzfu tzfu yitamur yog b'chabur. Terrible story we speak about, which happens in so many times in Jewish history, where the mothers and fathers gathered together, and they saw their children, and they saw what's that if they get taken away by the enemy, then terrible things will happen to them. And so the fathers and mothers had, without any pity, they looked at their beautiful children, and what did they do? They spoke to them. We didn't merit to raise you to Torah and akrivchem ke'oila ve'aktar will offer you as korbanos. Nizkei mochem le'oira tzfuna mein kol va'aluma will kill you and shecht you, and there was a suicide, and they, in order not to fall in the hands of the goyim. Orid v'sichi ve'ohima v'kol miyarim, and I'm going to cry for this. The older ones and the young ones accepted to do this. First the older people, they killed all the elders. You had all sorts of intestines mixed with the waste because of the dead people lying around. Fathers who were merciful became cruel. They're just murdering each other and killing each other. And you had colors falling into the hands of the Chassanim. Chopped up into pieces by the sword. Very graphic. And I'm crying and crying, and I'm just lamenting as I think about all this. Torah put on sackcloth. Sack is a garment that you wear, which is not your real garment, and it's hard to put on. And so Torah puts on a sackcloth. This is not the way it's supposed to be. So the Torah has no one to learn, and Torah is dependent on Yidden. And there's no Yidden around, so what does Torah say? Torah says, who's going to learn me? Who's going to prepare who's going to answer questions of Mi'aflin Nazirus and Mi'aflin? Who's going to answer Nazir questions, Nether questions? Who's going to look through your depth? Who's going to learn Torah if the Jews are gone? Who's going to fight your war, the war of Torah, and come back to the gates after fighting the war? The weapons were gone, and the Giborim, the mighty ones, the Jews have fallen. What remained of those who stayed? That's us. Hashem, how long can you look at this? Be zealous for your Torah that was burnt up. And here we have one of the most moving stories that took place in the times of the Churban. It's a story of the son and the daughter of Rabbi Yishmael Kohen Gadol. Rabbi Yishmael is one of the Asar Gemalchus himself. And now you have the story. The story appears in different versions. The version used over here is how the son and the daughter get taken captive, and then the most beautiful, stunning, the light is shining there with the son and daughter of the Kohen Gadol. And the story of how they get taken captive. I'm groaning and moaning. If I want to moan and groan, all I need to think about is the story of Rabbi Yishmael Kohen Gadol. He's moving on. They were taken captive by two neighbors. This one said, I got this beautiful, stunning slave over there, and Shifcha, maid servant. The friend tells him, I found a servant, a slave who was stunning, beautiful eyes. Put them together and they have babies. We'll get a lot of very special children out of this beautiful union. We'll get great slaves and we'll divide them together. I'm just going to tear my garments listening to the story of my people. They both agreed. They put them in a room together in the evening. The master standing outside with one heart. They have one goal. There should be a baby coming out of this. They were crying together, each one of them. They thought for sure, you put them together, there'll be a baby coming out of us. Instead, what happened? Each one of them was crying in the corner. It was a dark room. They couldn't see each other. And what were they saying in the corner? So this one is on the side, his heart melting. My father was a Kohen Gadol. All my ancestors were Kohanim. Nina Aron, the great grandson of Aaron. How can he marry a shifcha? She's crying on the other side. I'm a daughter of Yecheved. What am I doing, marrying a slave? That we got to this stage. And then the morning came. When they recognized each other, my brother, my sister, they were screaming out loud. And they embraced each other and they stuck together. And the emotion was so intense that their soul came out in that breath. And I'm crying and moaning for this story. This is what Yirmiyahu was. This is the second base of Mikdash, but still Yirmiyahu in the first base of Mikdash is prophesying this. In my heart, I'm burnt up, but there's a flame burning in my heart, and it's a flame of torment and torture, but at the same time, it's a flame of a realization of the future of Klal Yisrael. And now we lament the Beis Hamikdash, the Beis Hamikdash which stood there, and it's the focus. It's because the Beis Hamikdash is destroyed, right? Because we don't have the Kedusha of Hashem among us. That's why all these terrible things befall us. Al Churban Beis Hamikdash ki uras v'chiyudosh es boit b'chol shana v'shana mispeid chodosh al HaKodesh v'al HaMikdash. Every year I remember the Kodesh of the Mikdash. It's also l'alim d'Hashem. We're going through the Beis Hamikdash, all the different components. So Yochinu Boyaz were the two pillars that stood the Beis Hamikdash, and they were smashed to the ground. Sarah Shulchanos, Oz Shulolo, they took away his booty, all the Shulchanos, the tables in the Beis Hamikdash. They were mocking those of the Kohanim. They were saying, "No, where's your master? You're not saving him now." They were taken these beautiful treasures. They were taken to Shinar. Shinar is Bavel, and instead they were given to Kadeshim. They were given to the Zoynos. So these were used. These tables of the Beis Hamikdash were used for znus in Bavel. I took the Mechayna every. There was a kier of the Kana. And they took the basin and the sink over there and they smashed it up, and they were excited to smash it up. Choishes Yom Basel Kios. With this beautiful shape design of the Merkava, and they took the whole thing and they smacked it up. And the Nebuchadnezzar just couldn't care less about it. Lo yisamir nisod vadol libokh So the Malachim have no idea what to say. The Malachim are sitting over there just aghast, shocked. I don't know what to say, so Hashem says, here's what we say this time. And Hashem started to lead the services, and he said, Eicha. And the Malachim followed suit with saying, Eicha. Tosu Amoinim Emayavim Moitziu HaKruvim. The Amoinim Emayavim came, they were excited to join, and they took the Kruvim from the Kodesh HaKadoshim. Chliv or Yoisa Misad, and they were parading them in a cage around Yerushalayim. You see, the Yidden, they like all the Goyim. Chil Tzal ve'HaKodesh Cholot Migdolos v'alem ve'eil adir shmo Eliyahu v'zeilosoi. The God in Musam based philosophy. It's a greater chidush that Hashem, the Gvura of Hashem, that He didn't do anything. Hashem is God, and yet He let all this happen. The Kohanim kept on doing the Avodah. The Kohanim just stood there and they were doing the Avodah as the Goyim came and they massacred them. They started in the middle of the Avodah. They said, you know what, till the last second we're going to do. Instead of wearing the beautiful clothes, wearing sackcloth. The angels were wearing sackcloth. The lion opened up his eyes. Who's the lion? The lion is Nebuchadnezzar. Even the angels were going out into Galus. With great gaiva, he walks out with the menorah and he proudly extinguishes the menorah forever. And not to Yodel till now. And not to Yodel this light, the menorah would light up the whole world. And he was able to extinguish the light. Then he roars like a lion. Was already destroyed from before. And so we just over to Beis Yisroel ve'alam adinoi ki naflu b'adinoi ki naflu b'chorev v'domer d'mayim You had these young boys who were sitting down and they were wrapped up in this forum. That means they were learning Torah all the time and they were sent just to be massacred. Al Beis Yisrael alam adinoi ki naflu b'chorev v'seira deini dima ve'ili leve'anuda ve'livchi ve'lagzak yikol le'azbid amibaz migor v'zov ramu He said, I'm talking about the people of those who are murdered in Speyer, Ashpira. These are the communities on the Rhine in Germany. And he tells the exact date, Kal Varmaiza, the second killer, these were called Speyer Worms and Magensa, Varmaiza, Bechuna, Bechura. There were two massacres took place over there. On the 23rd of the month of Ziv, that's Iyar, again, we create Halal They were saying the Hallel on Rosh Chodesh, Shlimu Nafshem Ve'ava Kshura, Ahinu Aleinu, Klulei Chesed, Alo Yeshem Le'ato, Adira. And the third community is Magenza, Adira Gal Magenza Adu, Min Shalom Gal Maris Gizgabo. Shlimu Nafshem Ani Choshem Al Noiro, Ba'aleim Zag HaShever, Al Sharu, Al Shneim Yitzay Zedem Gayim, Uroch, Al Chovetz Me'ad Mikdashim, Min Shayat Teiro. So this month of Sivan, we were hoping for Shavuos. Instead of Shavuos, in that year we got terrible calamities of the Crusaders. I cry for these. As I cry, I think that now, someone was asking me, are we going to say a kinah for this year's pogrom and for this year's tragedy? I think it's very simple. If we Jews were to make a kinah for every tragedy that befall us, if you think kinnas is long now, it wouldn't end. I mean, unfortunately, this is a non-ending story, including now. It's not, what we're doing is we're looking at all Klal Yisrael, all the tzaras that happen all the time. We're thinking about the October 7th, we're thinking about it now. It's part of this, it's the same thing as the Crusades, it's the same thing, it's one big gullus. It just didn't end. Just when you thought it was over, and now they love us and we're good, we realize we're the same Jews, and this is the same situation. We need Mashiach, we need the Beis Hamikdash just the same, and Hashem is protecting us even in gullus. And I'm crying what happened this year too. All the they had these ladies who were they were professional criers, so they would say Eli ve'Eliyah. That's the way you cry. The boys cry and the girls cry. Is there any way to cry like I'm crying? I have naked bodies lying in heaps. Albeit is allemaal met de dingen af de heen jene Joden maar gingen hebben leven met zich en boek op hier ik wil bij hem lopen kom ik over die dingen van dingen חידים עושה הלך לצורי והבייס ישראל ולמה דוי נוי כי נופלו בחורב. The Medrash tells about Yirmiyahu who walks out of Yerushalayim and he sees a woman. And he says to the woman, who are you? Are you real? Are you a demon or are you a real person? If you're a demon, I go when you disappear. If you're a real woman, then you should, then what are you crying about? And she says to him, what should I do? I'm a real woman. And she tells him that my husband died. And after my husband died, he went away and he died, and then the house fell on my children and this children. And she tells him all the calamities that have befallen him. She said, I don't know who to cry for. Who am I supposed to cry for? For the husband who's dead, for the children, whatever, all the calamities befell me in one go. Who am I supposed to cry? And he listens to her, and then she tells him, I am Tzion. And I'm not sure who to cry for everything that's going on right now. I don't know how to cry first. And that was Yirmiyahu's mashal of what's going on by Am Yisrael. So Yirmiyahu prophesied about the Churban, and he was trying to get the Jews to do tshuva, and they didn't listen to one word he said, nothing. And as a result, that the Churban comes about, and Yirmiyahu then, with love and with caring, goes over to the people, and he still cares for them. So in other words, maybe you didn't listen to me, but you're still Am Yisrael, you're still the people of Hashem. Oz Ba'alich Yirmiyahu al Kivrei Yovo. Yirmiyahu goes to Hebron, he says to the Abbas, what are you doing sleeping? Why don't you bring out the schus of Avraham, Yitzchak, and Yaakov? Go, kulam beginning al chesed, and bonim, you were promised, right? Where's that promise of yours? Hey, when the Zoe will evolve the Vero, while even a member of so Avraham Avinu wakes up and he starts screaming to Hashem. I was tested 10 times just for nothing more to be afraid of. Hashem said, yeah, you're right. But your children went against you. They went to Avodah Zarah. They went to foreign territory. They messed up the 10 Commandments. Yitzchak, I went to Lakeda for no reason. Is that why I went? And so Hashem said to him, they went against the Yirmiyahu told them. And they went against Har Moriah. Everything you happened to you in Har Moriah, they went against you. And what am I supposed to do? Hashem says. They killed Zechariah. So Yaakov comes up and he says, Hashem, Hashem, I raised the whole family. A beautiful family. And he says, Hashem, these are my little children. How could you let them disappear? And now their bloods are just mixed up. The Zechariah's blood was boiling over there. And it was Aradin just killed millions probably of people he killed for the blood of Zechariah. Moshe comes up, the faithful shepherd, and says, these are my sheep. It goes, Leah gets up and she's banging on her heart. Rachel, everyone's crying. And Hashem listens and he says, go back to your place. Don't worry, this is not the end. If it's not good, it always ends good. If it's not good, it's not the end. This is all for your sake that I went to Babel. We're all going to come back. We're going to come back and be brought back to Yerushalayim. And so Yirmiyahu goes and he finds that woman and he starts waking her up. And this is the story of Yirmiyahu and the woman. He find a beautiful woman who looked terrible in terrible shape. This is Ben Chilkiyahu, Yirmiyahu Ben Chilkiyahu. Were you a human being or a demon? Tami יקשיב ועשי תשובה יעני זכו כחשוב ויופע לך ואלת את זמם תוידי מיוז נודד ויודוד נו ימולי ועל כל חישודוד הבוס ימיך ישבו בודוד. What's going on with the people of Israel? איך ישבו בודוד. So the woman tells him, go tell your God about all the terrible things that are happening to me. Hashem says, stop in Yirmiyahu, go out and daven by the Kivrei Yavis, ask the others, ask Aaron and Moshe, let them cry together, and then maybe we can undo this galus. Yirmiyahu goes to heaven and he starts davening. There's nothing I can do, this is a gzeira. So what am I supposed to do? The next kina is all about how could I find any comfort? How can I find comfort? What am I supposed to do? How could things go back to normal? It's impossible to find any comfort. And then all the way at the end of the kina is so beautiful. He says, and when all this gets undone, And we get Geula, ve'oz enochem. Oh, then I will be comforted. There's only one comfort for a Jew in Golus. Nothing else will comfort us. The only comfort is Mashiach. Eich tenachamuni hebel v'chinoi rinei pach leibel v'nachlas hebel. Kovei lo yel sebel v'yeich enochem v'zeh yevrojon inon oloi shino v'yini aguma v'aguna v'yini Zin vom geribe mit mi bezamol bi yechem melav yadam lo gam melav bi no Yadu amayim admoin moyov yadmoin bidomoin achriv amoin deichinochem. It's not fair. What am I supposed to say? Edom does everything against Hashem. Edom messes up all the time. Esav. And yet look at them and they're thriving. Why is it that Rishayim are thriving? They trample us, they mess us up. How am I supposed to be comforted? I'm tired of all these murders that I'm getting. We just get killed for your name, Hashem. Tzaras come our way, and the tzaras, the calamities, they don't stop, they keep on coming again and again and again. When Hashem finally will take notice of us and take our enemies to the grave and pick us out of Golus, then I'll be able to be comforted. Another killer now about babies getting killed by parents. Hey, Chinadinai Zeva, Gidish, go up, Halolaya. יחד הדבר רבה להגיד להם מוגדיים בנאיז מגודב אז משהו בצעי סדי ידיים מולי רבה לבתיקים משדיים כבשו אבא חמוב לנז זה בחירת יד הבישלים describing a father over here who takes his children and preparing them. It's like you have fat sheep, you take them out to shecht. And the children tell the mothers, what are we doing? Why are you killing us? And the women themselves take these babies that they raised, and they had to kill them. How could you listen and not shed tears? The child is being shechted and the father is saying Shema for him. How can you hear anything like this? The mother prepares a meal, a beautiful meal for the family, And instead, what happened was the mother was preparing a meal, preparing herself to be taken to the slaughter, preparing her children. And I'm hearing the story. Also, Abonis Kinos. The father, after he murdered his whole family, in order to save them from falling into the hands of the enemies, the father would then kill himself too. Sid Kodina Pairia Gigriba Anofea Small is a dom give Baba Hanada, the Jabba, Kiroi Saimion, and Trade Vashev, Story Mahmoud, Sholem in Yeravim ben Nevat was, the Navi tells him, because you did all the things you did, no one's going to come to a cave by you, everyone's going to be, no one's going to be buried. Except for one. His child was sick, Avia, and he says Avia is the only one going to be buried. And Yeravim deserves it. No, Yeravim was an evil man. But how could it be that Sholem nimtza b'chol pa'olei nafsh l'tevach yishtim b'achat chele v'gam for the all the righteous people, these martyrs, they had the same punishment as met out on them, and they too didn't get any burial. Tati libim mitzay techen yala v'nadi ani tzedek v'yesher v'dino v'tei v'lireh elim shirum v'nefon It's a good sign for a person if he wasn't eulogized properly, because if a person wasn't eulogized properly, that means that he's going to get atoned for all his averas. So in that sense, it's good for you. You're able to do, you're able to help us. How are you going to just sit there and watch this? We want revenge. We want revenge. We're not scared to say revenge. You know the whole story took place next to all this year to put on the soldier's tomb. Soldier who was killed in battle. Hey, you Dalit. Yep. We Jews say, hey, you Dalit. Hey, that is Hashem. We want Hashem to take revenge. Adinai ki gibotzei yedei chay machpera sheva gezeh This whole Kinos is all about the Koim Nikmas B'nai Yisrael, take revenge for B'nai Yisrael. Tipei dom amachas leachas menu yois. Each drop of blood, count them together. V'yeis nitzcham begodecha v'fu pero v'che yois. The blood, the life that was spilled from them should be in front of you. Yodin bagoyim mole gevi yois. To judge the nations and to fill them up with corpses. Maher geula ze b'zar shamar ki yom nokom belibi ushnas geulai bo. The day is going to come. Yeshayahu says the day of revenge and the year of Geula. But in the meantime, we turn to Hashem and we cry over the Churban Beis Hamikdash. Shlomo Melech built the Beis Hamikdash. He turns to Hashem and he says, the whole world can't house your presence, and this home will. It's miraculous. Yeah, where's that home? How beautiful it was. So now we're going to go through, the poetry here is phenomenal. We go through in Metzora, Parshas Metzora, it says about there was Tzaras in the Bais. So it speaks about the home. So the Bais. So we go through the whole Bais, and each time the Bais is the Beis Hamikdash, right? There's Nega Babais and destroy the house. So it's all playing on the words of the Tzaras in the home. You want him to build the home. So Hashem, your home was known. This is your space. Nochem Shambova Mimago Bezden Monkey, you create the deny, Araboy. يعني ich hatte eine Weise oder mit bin ich goy na boy Kadesh beis meinai vesav li meinai venik zuligena venik veladinai boy la boy. And now we contrast what it was like to leave Yerushalayim and what it was like to leave Mitzrayim. When we left Mitzrayim, we had beautiful things happening. When we left Yerushalayim, disasters and calamities. And each time we look at the B'tzeisim Mitzrayim, contrast it with B'tzeisim Yerushalayim. The fire was burning in my heart when I left Mitzrayim. When I left Yerushalayim, I'm just lamenting and crying. We left Mitzrayim, what do we have? Oz Yashir Moshe Shir Lo Yinashem. We have Moshe singing. We left Yerushalayim, what do we have? By Koinen Yirmiyah, B'non Nehi Nehiyah, B'tzeisim Yerushalayim. Yirmiyah is just crying. And we go through the whole aleph base of the differences between Yerushalayim and Mitzrayim. Basis, Koinon V'shochane, or Non B'tzeisim Mitzrayim. Hey, boy, y'all living out of the God living with this in Mitzrayim. Moshe was guiding us, and Aaron when we left Mitzrayim, Nebuchadnezzar and Janus Kesar, B'tzeisim Yerushalayim. That's the contrast. Na roich milchama b'day nisham we had holiness, prophecy, and the glory of Hashem being revealed when we left Mitzrayim. All we have was disgusting dirt and filth and tumah when we left Yerushalayim. The sound was the sound of the trua, of the chatzotzos, of the trumpets when we left Mitzrayim. The sound when we left Yerushalayim was babies crying and people dying. But the beautiful ending, we go through Tov, we have Torah, and we have the luchos and beautiful vessels of the Mishkan when we left Mitzrayim. But we're going to have rejoicing and no more sorrow, and all that's going to happen when we return to Yerushalayim. The next kina is called Oy, Oy, Oy. Oy, Oy, what happened to us? Hey, hey, Chalukhtalav Me'ayamu Allah, Boya, Belchuk, Megero Mila, Juba, Moy, Melanu, Vavaya, Modim, Yad, Bnei Abadim, Oya. They took the hooks of the amudim of the mishkan, the hooks that were holding the pillars together. Oya, they get break them out many body. Moy me oya lo nu. Lechem abonim si elov ki su elov kinim oyo v'turim Selo sais nesachim benu nechesho nechsochim oyo v'ez Ja, wenn ich mal gucke, ich habe beim Dorf gut, oi, mir, oi, Allah, nur gab bei so einer anderen sagen, oi, aber nein, no, kim mir, mal hakim, oi, Allah, nur khai, khai, oi, gab bei sich, dann ist mal ja, ne, mal auf, There's no more Simchas Beis HaSheyeva, there's no more the candle, that's Western candle that was their tummy that was burning. Zaydi b'nei Adina, maybe b'nei Mimona. These terrible people, the sons of Adina. Adina is the Esavites. Oya, be'er, big de chuna, be'er, the nitna. They took the kehuna, the clothing, oimer, elonu, k'teres, there's the oil, the chaperes, oya. Tikin bazer, the garbage, live zer, as Yeshua, tiyelonu. We end off always on a positive note. The k'teres has vanished, don't know where it is. But one day, Tikin bazer, Hashem, whose the whole world is nothing like a pinky to him. He'll gather all of us together. And at that point, Yeshua, tiyelonu. In other words, Tisha B'Av, you can look at it in one hand and say, what's Tisha B'Av about? It's about Churban. It's about destruction. The Beis Hamikdash is destroyed. Everything gets messed up. Prosecution, persecution, terrible things. That's one way to look at it. The other way to look at it is to say that we're here to bring the new Beis Hamikdash. We have to remember, to remind ourselves how terrible it was. And all we want is to rebuild the Beis Hamikdash. That's what we're looking for. So this is here to talk about how to bring the Beis Hamikdash, to bring the house down. And so every time we end off Yeshua Tiyelon, we get Yeshua, we're here to talk about the new Beis Hamikdash through remembering all the terrible calamities. That's how we bring about the Binyan Beis Hamikdash. The next kin is called Oyali and Alalai, going to the whole Aleph Beis. Each time it's Oy and Alalai, which are self-understood. Ey velaer raninu sagom Oyali, imchiamo b'chamasir docheser Alalai. כל צורך בניתי רק Oyali, דבר חבורה ונכון נחשבו בזה, דבר Oyali. We offered them by the Crusades, we offered them to give them ransom. They said, no one, we don't want money, we just want to kill you. They took my Levim, wallowing in blood, they took my Kohanim, and they took all the modest people and they raped us. That's what they did, people who never knew what it means. Bechlal was so modest and sneeristic, and they did these terrible things to us. Suddenly Chassanim and Kalas, instead of getting married, they became the actual korban. לא אבן כמה אורה וקומו הורים שיפלי קוימו יודן גביע זריקמו שכינה כמו על מקוימו. We're waiting for revenge. We're waiting for the Shekhinah to get up because we know the power of Hashem. We're waiting for Hashem to exact that power and come back and save us. Yoim achdi ich baldi veich belo avoini mishol khami mishol khiyot bedom w bachazal ולא ישקעת עדיו קם דם נוב ינוב יזכר וירב ואז יהודות אני ואני. Now we're going to that day when the Buzaradan enters into the Beis HaMikdash and he sees the blood of Zechariah boiling. Zechariah was actually killed. One of the reasons it says is because they believed that a Navi, like Yonah Navi, didn't want to be a Navi because he realized it would be negative to the Jews by him saying a Nevuah. So he decided not to say the Nevuah and to run away. Of course, Hashem didn't want that to happen, but yeah, that's what he was trying to do. So a Navi, through saying his Nevuah, that's what makes a Nevuah come about. So they were wondering about Zechariah, why would you not withhold your Nevuah? Like, don't say your prophecy. And the fact that you're saying the prophecy means you're bringing it down, making it happen. So they went on Yom Kippur, they did 10 Averis, and they basically killed a Kohen and a Navi, and on Yom Kippur, all the Averis they did in one. The blood was boiling for dozens of years, and the Nebuchadnezzar decides, the Buzaradan, the Rabbi Tabachim comes in, he says, I got to get rid of this thing. So now this whole kin is about what the Buzaradan decides to do. The blood is boiling, and he sees the blood boiling. So this is the blood of the Korbanos that's boiling. So he says, okay, so he offers scores of Korbanos. He kills animals to see if the blood will stop boiling. It doesn't work. And what he did was he increases by us the reason for crying. And they discovered, he asked them, he says, you got to tell me the truth. And he got the truth out of them, and it was the Zechariah was a prophet, and he was killed. So he says, okay, let's placate the blood. He said, I'm not keeping quiet till the blood of Zechariah keeps quiet. And so he takes out the Kohanim and he brings them inside. He killed old people by the hundreds and young people by the tens of thousands. The children the fathers are watching and the children are being shechted. So many does not want to quiet down. And then he killed the mothers too. For Naveira. He took babies and mothers together. There was blood as much as the Nile in Mitzrayim. And so many people are being killed and nothing's working. We want to kill everyone in the world, no problem. You Hashem we send. Midrashim say that it was a Radon went and actually, like it says by Nir and Kesed, did the same thing. It was a Radon went and converted. After he saw this, he went and converted. He said, this is what Hashem does for those whatever. I can't, this is too dangerous. And so he went and converted and became a Jew, as they state. So it says, Chazal said that Nir and Kesed had the same thing. Nero wanted to destroy the Beis HaMikdash, so he shot an arrow. North, south, east, west, every direction he shot it, the arrow turned around, a precision-guided missile, and it went to Yerushalayim. So Niran says, I see what's going on over here. He says, Hashem basically wants to destroy the Beis HaMikdash, and he wants me to do his dirty work for him, and then I'm going to suffer the consequences as a result. I'm not doing it. And Niran went, and instead of destroying the Beis HaMikdash, he went and became a Jew. And it says that of his children, Rabbi Meir was one of the descendants of Nir and Kesed. We're drunk, we're intoxicated, but it's not because of wine, it's because of tsaris. שחורס ולא מיועין השליח יסבח צעקי לפני הדינוי על חוירב סיפייך על חוירב סיפייך וצעקי לפני אדוני החייב סיבה יערב סיבה יערב סיבה יערב סיבה יערב כפה בבא ירבית צעקי לפני אדוני החייב סיבה יעיר על חייב סיבה יעיר על נבר של עלייך סיאליו כפויך Rabbi Yehuda Halevi was a big Tzioni. Rabbi Yehuda Halevi lived in Spain, and the story is that he wanted to go up to Eretz Yisrael, Kudari. And he went up to Eretz Yisrael. Legend is that he was killed there by an Arab who trampled him. But the whole beauty of Rabbi Yehuda Halevi's writings, the poetry, is a yearning for Yerushalayim. It's I wish I could be there in Yerushalayim. And this kina Tzion Aleisi Shali is looking at Tzion and giving, he's personifying Tzion. And Tzion talks, Tzion speaking here, and he's saying to Tzion that why don't you daven and why don't you care for your people? They care for you, all Yidden care for Eretz Yisrael, care for Yerushalayim, why don't you care for them? So the poetry here, again, exquisite and brings out the real yearning of a Yid for Tzion. Tzion Eloi Zeshalil Shloi Masirayich. They're looking for you all the time. From all corners of the world. Except their peace. They're looking for shalom. Every Jew around the world is davening for Yerushalayim. When I'm crying because I'm yearning for you. I'm waiting for them to come down in the mountain. When I cry, I'm like a jackal crying for your pain. I am a harp to your song. When I think about it, Kinos Leshirayich was first written by Rabbi Yehuda Halevi. He says, I am the harp singing the song of Yerushalayim. I'm yearning for your places. Hashem opens up the place to Shamayim is in Yerushalayim. That's where the gate to Yerushalayim is. It's not the sun and the moon that shine in Yerushalayim, it is the glory of Hashem that shines in Yerushalayim. You are a base melucha, a kingdom, and the throne of Hashem. He says, how could it be that on the place of that servants, slaves are sitting on the place of on your throne? I wish I could just walk around those places where your Nevi'im were revealed. I wish I had wings and be able to go to Yerushalayim. My heart is so shattered, and then I would feel good being in Yerushalayim. I'm going to kiss your dust of Yerushalayim. I'll be prepared to walk naked and barefoot. The place where it used to be the base. I'm in a cursed time. Why did it take your princes into Babel? How can I eat and drink when I see? How can I even enjoy the light of day? When you're being eaten up by the ravens. Stop it already. This cup of sorrow is enough sorrow. Tzion, you're just beautiful. You're absolutely beautiful. Your friends, that's the people of Israel, are tied to you in a bond of love. They're happy with your tranquility. They cry for your pain. You think that the Babel and Egypt, that they have anything like you? No country in the world has what Yerushalayim has. The vanity cannot compare to your Ur Metumim. All the nations come and go. All the mighty empires come and disappear. But your power is forever. Fortunate are those who sit down and experience the Churban and think about Yerushalayim. When you return to Kadmus Neuraich, the place where you were before. This is the power of what a Yid's had throughout the ages. What are we even thinking about all the generations? It's all we turn to Yerushalayim. And the songs, where does it come from? You see Rabbi Yehuda Halevi and the power, the yearning of a Yid, the Chalashim for Yerushalayim. And here we have a bunch of Kinos about the beauty of Yerushalayim. This unparalleled place that's always in our hearts. So the story was that Elisha was the prophet, and Elisha gets a visitor. The visitor was Naaman from Aram. So Naaman was in Aram, and there was a little young maid. She was captured from the Jews, and Naaman got saras, and so the maid tells her mistress, she says, that if Naaman wants to be cured, there's a Navi, go to the Navi. She says, okay, I'll go to the Navi. So Naaman comes, and he comes to the king of Israel, and he says, my master, the king of Aram, send me to the king of Israel to get connection with Naaman, with Elisha, to cure me. So the king says, what? He's trying to cause war. Who knows what he's trying to do? Elisha finds out about it. He says, just bring him over to me. I'll help him out. Naaman comes with his whole entourage into Elisha. He's got gifts for him to give him. And Elisha takes them. He doesn't even go out to greet him. He says, go tell him to dip in the Jordan River, and then he'll be fine. And Naaman hears this and he's shocked. What? Dip in the Jordan River? You've ever seen the Jordan River? It's like a little nothing. The Euphrates is a river. The Nile is a river. The Jordan is not a river. It's a little nothing. He says, I'm not doing it. These people tell him, just listen to what he's saying and do it. What do you care? So he goes and dips 7 times in the river, in the Yarden, and he's cured, and his body becomes like soft, like a child. And he comes back to Elisha to thank him for what happened over there. So we're talking about turn to Eretz Yisrael all the time. Where the Nevi'im, where are the children of the king? And your ministers have all gone out to the problem with Eretz Yisrael is when you do Averis, the land come back to Hashem. Hashem, let him have let him perfect year. Now we talk about tziyad all the time. So, and right, it's not a translation. It's just the word. What does tziyad mean in English? Right. Well, why is a monument called a monument? Why is a caver? We call the caver as mitzayin elakvaris. The Mishnah says. Why is I remember the place? That's where the caver is. That's why I put a tzion over there. So tzion, it says. The Gemara says Chazarnu al kol hamikra. We look for the whole Tanakh, and we only found one place where it says this. That what's tzion? So Mishayahu Hanavi says Leimer letzion amiyoto. Tzion refers to the people of Israel. Tzion is a yid. Why is he called a Tzion? Because he's a little mark. He's a representative of Hashem. If you want to see Hashem, look at a Yid. But where in the Yid? The Pintal Yid. The little Tzion, a little Nakuda inside the Yid, that's Hashem. That's where it is. So just like in the world, Hashem has a little Tzion. The place is Yerushalayim. And in Yerushalayim, the little mark, it says Hashem said, right, I'm here. And so the whole idea that we're working through all these Kinos over here, all these kapitla of Kinos, what it's about is us being able to discover the Tzion. You know, when you daven in Shachris and you say, Kivachar Hashem b'Tzion, what should you think about? Hashem chose me, the Yid, and He wants to dwell inside my Pintale. And He wants to dwell inside me, and He wants me to be in that place, in that space, in Yerushalayim, and to recognize Hashem. So it's all about us being able to reenact this connection that we always had called Tzion. And another one about the beauty of Tzion. Tzion ateret tzvi simchas aminayich shalom kenog chi meyes adonayich. You didn't go across the world. We go, we make a life, we survive, we do well in America, and all through the ages, all around. But a Yid, all the time, in his heart, he knows. Sometimes a little more, sometimes a little bit less, but inside he senses that the place to be is Yerushalayim. Even when we are around all the world, we yearn for Yerushalayim. Those who are in the ground, they're dwelling in the ground, meaning they're already 6 foot under. What do they yearn for? To get back to Yerushalayim. When I'm seeking your welfare, I stand on top of mountains. I'm like a bird, like a fresh bird. I speak about the peace of Yerushalayim. Shalom le'eretz tzvi. Peace to the land of the tzvi, the land of the deer. Yerushalayim is called the land of the deer because there's always space for all Jews. It expands. Shalom you were so beautiful. How come you're so blackened now? You have ashes instead of air, or a chassan, right? The chassan, when he gets married, what does he do? He puts the ashes on his head. And before Tisha B'Av, we eat the ashes. What's the ashes? Because we're supposed to have pe'er on our heads. Pe'er is the glory. Glory refers to tefillin. Now we have afer on our heads because of the ashes of Yerushalayim. When I see your beauty, I call the singers to sing. Sing a song of Yerushalayim. I much prefer if there were porcupines with all their sharp skin over there. We're living in Yerushalayim. It would be much better than having Yerushalayim and having some Edomites and some Edom and Arav. I'll leave Arav untranslated. If they dwell in Yerushalayim, oi to us. You were built for David and Shlomo. V'heim kedem echananayich ati lemikdash lo'el ati menucha l'tzur. Ati asher b'yem yad ginayim shalom shalom l'manayim ba'aron abris. Oh, Yale bench the Abolon, we know how Miss Beham do again in the Mishos and Bezeva, whether the Hapala and Rosa, you know, he had these, they were shaped like a pomegranate, the me'il, and there was a ringing of bells would come through as he was walking through. Achaz Bashana Panim Olach Nechad, he would walk inside once a year, Hevik Teres, when they come to the Chavnai, have the Teres and the Koimets, and he would bring the Koimets in the base of Mikdash. Next door, Penei Mamod, Villa Villa Yale, Aminayi, Amineh Bolbam is There's 10 levels of Kedusha. The Rambam enumerates all 10 levels of Kedusha of Yerushalayim, of Eretz Yisrael. And now your children are not there. King, where's your Navim? Where's your Levim? Where's your Kohanim? When? Alvai should get back. Oh yeah, I wish I could see Yerushalayim rebuilt. Lu ereich biyois nivneis b'neifech v'afuch yirou letzofim yom geba v'galvonaich. Your rays of light will shine across the world. I'm yearning for comfort. Tishman and even was a girl of Nivos Nairi. They really got they is now even Adam Meshuboy. See and cry for the homeland. See and depending on every second on his arms. Don't remember. Bring out your lamentations, because Moav, the Moavites, lowly people that they are able to dominate and to rule you. الملاخم اللي لو كتزيني مغليش بزي ما بميل بغوزم لا ناير بيش دبيلر باجليخ لاوغت بغيزاك بيامدم يدغزني ناير بغو بزاكين גם מוילל ביוינק סו תמרור נבש דיני קוס קייניים Sie heute können nicht alle wollen alle mein Meiser begann Meiser reisen gesehen na ihr la mehr lechit so ihr mal bekhin ובנאי ובנזאי בנינאי so גזום לגוילת מבוא כל בונים. So Tzioin is like, when Sarah hears your voice, Sarah Imenu, she just cries for her children, which were taken captive to all your neighbors. Rachel and Leah bechu, cry Rachel and Leah. Bila v'zilpa lekoinin, bila and zilpa, lament. Kiru b'koil mechi b'fonayich. Like smack on your faces. Ki Elohim alei lanetzach v'lo yiznach. Ki sikvahi v'reiv shalem v'banayich. Because this is all a yearning to get back to Yerushalayim. So we're not crying for Yerushalayim, a cry of despair. We're crying a cry of yearning to get back there. Because we will get back there. Mem, tzia, yedidus, yedid. So yirles, orai, He's referring to Tzion as the Chadar HaMitot. Chadar HaMitot is a beautiful analogy for the bedroom. It's, in the bedroom is a place where it's a very intimate place. And Yerushalayim, there's a whole world of Hashem. Hashem is everywhere. But the place where Hashem is intimate with Klal Yisrael is in Yerushalayim, in the Beis HaMikdash, in the Kodesh HaKadoshim. That's the place of real intimacy. And so it's known as Chadar HaMitot, the bedroom, because when you're in Yerushalayim, you're in the Beis HaMikdash, you have to, it's only about Hashem. You can't have any sense of self. The moment you have an ego inside the bedroom, you don't exist. It's not Shayach over there. It's all about Hashem, and that's Yerushalayim. Hayis leshiz chug yesoid meich teudah. They said kiddush achech v'yedech me'aberayich. Kiddush achodesh. Where does it take place? You see the new moon. You have to come to Yerushalayim, and that's where it is. The kiddush achodesh. From there, the whole world decides. The calendar of the world is decided in Yerushalayim. Bonim bonis juga bashuk shoikeku bubu. Describing Pesach in Yerushalayim. What's Pesach? You think Pesach is today? Pesach. It's not Pesach. You go around the world, some hotel doesn't do justice to Pesach. What you have, right? People walking around, Chag Pesach Niflo, Purim Apos Sulo, Purim in Yerushalayim. This is the way it's supposed to be with all Klal Yisrael hanging around Yerushalayim. Tal or v'chein nimlu. There's a dew of light and chein on them. Zakun Nezirayich, how pure it was. Eiches mechoid b'chag. How could a Yom Tov? Yeah, how am I supposed to make a Yom Tov ever? A Yom Tov without Yerushalayim. Eiche Eloi zoid b'fu. How am I supposed to be happy in Purim? This is not happiness. Ad ki yavoin yemei sasen lefurayich, until Yerushalayim gets us backwards Purim. Ad sechamud amei mod amalez bonim amud amei. When Yerushalayim was taken away, it was like nostrils, was like fire came out, smoke. Oh God, how could you restrain yourself? לשמור לו יסבוי כל לשם רע יכעוז תמצאי צוף דבר שעוז לא יגדון אני באלה יגאל בו את משביל להושיב לארץ הצבי ויהיה ארץ הצבי צבי לשאור הדורייך. It's very interesting about Sion, you know, the relationship which we had with Yerushalayim. When Yerushalayim was destroyed, so there were gzeiros made, among the gzeiros that we don't eat any meat, we don't drink wine, and we don't, no simcha ever, no instruments ever at a wedding, like all these gzeiros one after another. Because it was like, what do you mean, a world without Yerushalayim, how could it even be? How could the sun shine? And then what happened was, over time, we came to realize that we're still around, we still got to live life. So we left marks of Yerushalayim everywhere. You build a house, you're supposed to build a little piece that says, In Meshkach Yerushalayim, a piece undone. You make a wedding, you break the cup. You make a l'chaim, you break the plate. All these things that remember Yerushalayim. In Yerushalayim itself, they still, when you make a wedding, there's a real Yerushalmi. They don't have more than the one instrument. And it's all about, the remembering. We have the 9 days and the 3 weeks and Tisha B'Av. That's all about Yerushalayim. It's the leftovers of what we there. Because to a Jew, life is not life without Yerushalayim. The next kina is about the Sfarim that were burnt, the Notre Dame, where Nicholas Donin was a renegade Jew. And Jews, of course, know Jewish text the best. He had learned through the Gan Shas, knew the whole thing very well. Went through the whole Shas and showed the Pope all the places where the Jews were, anti-Christian, and as a result, the Sfarim were burnt, and 24 cartloads of Sfarim. Imagine what it is when there's no printing press, and you burn all the Sfarim of there's no way Torah literally gets destroyed by it. So the amount of Torah that was the setback was unparalleled in history. So we have a special kina for this. Shali srufo vo'eish lishloim aveilayich hamizab v'shmeim v'chatzar zbulayich hashayaf im ba'afaot v'akayav im ha'mishteim im ha'leim moike gelilayich Ochim v'asheichem ein nega v'koyim lo'yoyim v'asheich zvar aleim yiznegar boichem aleim v'ishbom טוב, אם וכן עלי זה היה עליי בידן ובזנים ובנדנו ויקרום מזבית ומה בדלך נדנו אוי ולא חנת השם לא גמולה יוצא צורי בלהפיס בדשם ולהלבות לדלגים והחיזון אליי שלא חססין הרגין ברוב רועלים ומאות בגדוי למזור בגבולה אני אצל לבית הדוס גיס הזה גיס הזה יזמע את הדרך וגבוי טוב ונזור לא יכול לבטח שבוח לא מתל מוי תמד מילה דגעת לבוש זיני לבוש המזל תעת לבוש על מנוס להחליט שמולייך יחית מועיז עדי יהי חנחל ויגיעו לגבס בני ישראל זה לא ימוש דל ומונון יש דור Is there a new Torah? If you burn the whole Torah, where am I supposed to get the Torah from at this point? There was in the month of Sivan, they accepted the Torah the third month, but in Tammuz, the fourth month, there was the revolt against the Torah. And so Moshe broke the Luchos. Because Moshe broke the Luchos, that showed that we didn't care about the Torah enough. And I watched the Luchos being burnt alive a second time. Again, when it happened, they gathered into the street, Sorfu Shlal Elgin, and they burnt Hashem's booty, they burnt the Torah. I don't know any path, I don't know what to do with myself. I'm tied down, my feet are shackled. It looks like Hashem went on a journey, he went on a far, far journey. The whole Khurban is looked at as a journey. Hashem went away, and not with us. On the positive side, when a person goes on a journey, the halacha is, what's the din? When you go on a journey, when you go on a journey, you have to remember your wife. And that's what it means that Mashiach was born. The moment of conception is the moment of destruction. Because it looks like a destruction, it's not. It's just Hashem is going on a journey. And at that moment, He's intimate with us. And that's why the Kruvim were facing each other at the time of the Khurban, which showed that Hashem had extra love for us. And it showed the connection between us and Hashem. And He went on a journey. And what's that journey? The journey is the journey of Golus. The journey of Golus is like the travails of pregnancy. But at the end of it, if you're wondering, right, what happened on Tisha B'Av? Mashiach was born on Tisha B'Av. That's what happened. I don't understand. How does the sun shine? How is the Me'or Hayom? The day just keeps going? And to me it's dark. How could that be? Only by me it's dark, by everyone else is light. Hashem will pick you up again. Again, the other place now about Tzir. אשר אומר בנחלף מהמזק מגודאיר ולד מויז גמיים נשדבו נמלוד מויז רב They took Yerushalayim and they plowed the whole place. They left it. Turnus Rufus made sure that after Yerushalayim it was just like plowed and nothing left, to the point that it was a field and foxes were going out of the ruins of Yerushalayim. Just cry for all this. Oh, yeah, איך ביד איבייך נפלו נגידייך ממך עבודים ילודים חמודים גבוה. ציון עדי עדיך יגמז בגדייך וגם אוי זוזרויה פאר בגדייך עמודייך ציון במשפט וחילוך ימין עינייך. Unfortunately, there were false prophets in Yerushalayim. We discussed one last night, Hananiah ben Azur. Just false prophets prophesying for Yerushalayim, not wanting Yerushalayim to do tshuva. That Yerushalayim, you think it's a normal city. It's not a normal city, it's a holy city. And the moment you think you're normal, that's the problem. לא מלגלים מאין תנים ומרש כועז וכיבוי וגם הגמימה ימי נוי מה ינאי How long will we be trampled on Yerushalayim? There's no Urim Betumim, there's no one to tell us the Nevuah of Hashem. Oh, mountains, there's no rain and dew on the mountains. That's it, the Aveira time is over, we've paid it, we've done Teshuvah. Hashem will acquire Tzion again anew. Mem dalet Tzion giveret hamamlochos metzira vavayi charo beyom beyshloim zimei zasirayi. Nimtzum shishtem shichai bedam kot koitze gonim troiv shoyav koyav. Again, going back to these prophets, the corrupt prophets in Yerushalayim who told us everything would be fine. And time and again, you have, who was it? The prophet he was Menageach Tzidkiah ben Canaan. He was going with in front of the king of Israel. He was going with put on the horns on his head, and he said, "You see, these you'll destroy." The reason the prophets came about was that in order that Jews should not do teshuvah. That was the goal. The goal is to stop Jews from doing teshuvah. And as a result of that, the Churban comes about because of that. בכלל מלוכים לבוש בונו יזרעו לו איס בעיר המויס וגוביש ואב זביר גזירה יבוא זנור. My heart, when I think about this, my heart is a storm. כמו יצגר אין ישראל עליה שמרז כמו רגי ומה בזון הם יגוד לגב נפשי שלמד דרוי שיבזוג יכולים צער לאויר כי יוב תל בחיים שלוים מנוחו דויש ושלוים מסירייך Kina Mem Hey. The final Kina, we take it back to a space of recognizing Elitzia and Varel. Elitzia and Varel, this one, which we say responsibly, is all about the Tziyah is basically like a woman about to give birth. Just like a woman gives birth when it's like the Navi Shayahu. So it says that Chizkiyahu, when he was about to, Chizkiyahu Melech was about to, when Sanherib surrounded Yerushalayim, there's no way out. So he says, he goes to the Navi and he says, the children have come to a mashber, they've come to a moment of crisis. The mashber also means a birthing stool. And the koyach ayin leleida, there's no power to have birth. Just like a baby when it's born, what happens? So you have a baby inside, and it's the same thing. The baby's there, got the eyes, ears, nose, mouth, everything the baby has, but just he doesn't have life. And as soon as the baby comes out, that's when life actually begins. That's the beginning of being born. So Klal Yisrael, he says, it's like that. We believe in Hashem. For one thing, we're just not alive. We lack life. What does it mean we lack life? Kolzman, we don't have Hashem in our lives, we don't have the Beis Hamikdash, we don't have Yerushalayim. We're like a baby in the fetus. And then we'll be born, and then we'll be able to get out of this galus and into the era of Mashiach, into redemption. So what we're looking at now is Hashem help us to experience Judaism the real way, in a rebirth. The same Kinos last night, Oliva and Shemroin having an argument, who's got it worse? 10 Shvatim who were taken once to Golos and then disappeared, or the rest of us who are still here and have to fight Golos constantly. Shiva, Oliva, Nee, Jerusalem hat die Leute. Ach, Jerusalem, כי ניחם על דינו יציאה, ניחם במראה ובנזר ויעשה מתברגל מראות we end off on a positive note that there's going to be happiness in Yerushalayim, there's going to be rejoicing, thanksgiving, and the sound of music back in Yerushalayim when Mashiach comes. Ashrei.